There are so many incredible power systems in anime and manga, but what is the perfect power system? Every single time you look at the comments of an anime video, there will 100% be people arguing about power systems. Unless you're an isekai fan, in which case, I feel so jealous. And when I started analyzing power systems, I knew that there were going to be different ones. What I didn't know is that there were going to be so many different ones. So today, I'm gonna show you some of the best power systems out there. I'm gonna rank them, and I'll even find out which one is actually perfect. Starting from the simplest one and making my way to the most complicated one. The first power system came out in 2022, and a lot of people are already in love with it. Check this out. So this character has a pair of scissors, and she can turn them into these like huge scissors. This guy has an umbrella and can turn it into this like umbrella sword thing. And this guy has these rings, and he can turn them into lollipop rings. Yes, no, I'm kidding. He can turn them into Wolverine claws. This is Gachiakuta, and the rules are really simple. You have an object, you take care of the object for a pretty long time, and once you give it all the love it needs, you can turn it into the really intense version of this object, which is called a Jinki. And this basically means that you unlock the superpowers of this object. Here's the thing. If the rules are so simple, how is this power system interesting? Like, how is it even close to a perfect power system? This is exactly what I thought until I realized that this power system is so much more than that. Okay, remember how I told you about the guy with the umbrella? Imagine you now have the exact same umbrella. So you have it for a while, you give it a cute little name like Mark, and you walk with it when it's raining, and maybe you take care of it like a little dog, you make it learn tricks. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? What? And bam, just like the other guy, your umbrella can now transform. But the thing is, you are not the other guy. No, 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 no. You are the unique you. Maybe you're really into art, so the umbrella turns into like this paintbrush umbrella thing. Or maybe you're really into skateboards, so the umbrella turns into like this floating umbrella skateboard. Or maybe you're just really into spaceships, so the umbrella turns into like this small rocket spaceship thing that goes like super far and just... Your object is going to transform based on who you are, which is so freaking cool. And sure, there are a lot of anime and manga out there where the power system is somehow linked to the character. When's the last time you saw a power system that turned a toilet plunger into a weapon of mass destruction? I'll wait. Gachiakuta is such a cool spin on this idea because the character's powers don't manifest through some kind of aura or energy. It's through everyday objects. And even though this part is awesome, I discovered that there was an even better part of this power system that was actually weirdly underrated. Check this out. Number one, how is someone using a keyboard as a weapon? And number two, how is someone using a keyboard as a weapon so cool? And it gets even crazier. This character is going so fast that we literally don't see his eyes. Like, that's insane. Somehow, when I thought it just couldn't get any better, this guy turned his entire body into a weapon, and now every single panel he's in is a masterpiece. Like, what do you even want me to say about this? It's so good. Art of this manga is great, but what takes it from great to exceptional is that it's directly linked to the power system, because during the fights, every Jinki has a completely different art style. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of power systems where the techniques look different. There aren't many power systems where the art styles look completely different for every single technique or fight. But as cool as the visuals are, the next part of this power system was something that I genuinely have never seen. And yet, no one is talking about it. Okay, I'm gonna show you 3 Jinki, and if you can figure out what they have in common, I will put this crown on your head, okay? So the description of the first one is, this is a pencil, and when it transforms, it creates little minions that do whatever the user wants. And the more you let them do that, the more powerful they get. Pretty cool. Okay, the next one is, this is a camera, and whenever the user takes a picture with it, they capture the moment forever, and they can go back to this moment whenever they want. That's also pretty sick, honestly. Okay, but honestly, I think my favorite one is this one. This is a comb that can stop time when you comb your hair. That's it, and I love it. The thing that these Jinki all have in common is that they were all invented by people in YouTube comment sections. Like, are you kidding me? This is so cool. I have never heard of a power system that made people so creative. I mean, I actually see comments like these in every Gachiakuta video. And I think that that's because the power system is based on the simple idea that taking good care of your things is important, which feels like something universal and something that we can almost all relate to. I find a lot of power systems really inspiring, but I've never experienced a power system where I felt like I could sort of use it in my own life right now. And if that sounds cool to you, I think you're gonna love it. And it's also why I think this deserves an S tier. The next power system is so different, but even if you already know it, you need to stay because I can promise you that it does something better than pretty much every other power system out there. Imagine you're bored, you're chilling, you're doing, whatever babies do, and you get superpowers. Maybe you can emit fire to cook like Gordon Ramsay. Then you're an emitter. Maybe you're invisible, so you can, I don't want to know. Then you're a mutant. And maybe you can transform your body into a rock, so you're a transformer? Then you realize, oh, everyone has superpowers. But don't you worry, because this is the world of My Hero Academia, and here, almost everyone has a superpower called a quirk. And yeah, at first the power system seems super easy. You're born with a quirk, and that's it. So here's the thing that makes it a lot more interesting. Quirks are not created equal. Okay, check this out. So this character can pull sticky balls from his head, but if he pulls too many of them, his head starts bleeding and the balls lose their stickiness. Yeah, I know this sounds like the worst power ever, but trust me, it's actually better than you think. And trust me, this is just the beginning.
I'm perfectly prepared to defeat you both.
This character's quirk is that he can cancel other people's quirks by looking at them, but because he has to keep his eyes open like all the time, that means they're really dry and he needs to put eye drops in them. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but it gets so much worse. This character's power is so intense that if he uses it too much, it literally breaks his bones. I mean, yeah, he gets better at using it, but it's still pretty crazy. And of course, in most power systems, you can't just spam your power. That would be so stupid. Right, Naruto? But what I love about this power system is that the drawbacks are so relatable. Like, each quirk comes with a real, tangible consequence that you could almost see happening in real life. But so far, the power system just felt like everyday life, but with superpowers. So where's the strategy and the rules? I mean, isn't the best part of power systems like Hunter x Hunter the interesting rules that make every battle feel amazing? And that's exactly what I thought until I saw something that completely changed the way I saw this power system. Okay, so you know how you were born and you had superpowers? Well, this feels pretty normal because you're born into a world where everyone else has superpowers. But imagine you were born many years ago when almost no one had superpowers. It would probably be freaking terrifying because people would be really scared of you and treat you like a freak. You could be rejected, isolated, or even hunted for something you never chose. And that's because it would be such a new thing that society basically wouldn't have rules to regulate powers for anyone. And living a normal life would be almost impossible. And this is actually something that happened in the My Hero Academia world at some point. And if you think that's intense, stay here because it actually gets worse. Okay, so this character's quirk lets her transform into someone by drinking their blood. And the more she did it, the more it changed the way she thinks, obviously. So, for example, when she admired someone or she respected someone, she wanted to be like them, but she also wanted to drink their blood. And that made it really difficult for her to live a normal life. My Hero Academia's power system isn't just about powers and fights like in many other power systems, because it actually has an impact on every single aspect of the world building and the story. I've heard a lot of people complain about quirks because they're kind of random and you're just born with them. But I actually feel like that's the genius of quirks. I'm sure that you've already had the experience of playing a sport for years or maybe learning a skill for a long time, and someone who barely started was just better than you. My Hero Academia's power system does such a good job at making you feel like life isn't always fair. But to me, the really inspiring part is that some of the characters overcome this with time and effort. And even though it might seem basic, I think that's a really beautiful part of this power system. This is a perfect power system for people who prefer to focus on the world building, the characters, and the story of an anime instead of focusing on the rules. And for me, that's what makes it an S tier. And even though a lot of people think that My Hero Academia's power system is mid, the next one is somehow even more controversial, because according to the internet, is the most loved and the most hated power system at the same time. And after I read so much about it, I wanted to find out if it was actually that bad. Dude, why does this feel like I'm reading some kind of dictionary? I have read this 5 times now and I still have no idea what's happening. Ugh. Okay, I think I get this one actually. Never mind. This is Jujutsu Kaisen. And the first thing you need to understand is that this power system is very different from almost every other power system ever. But for a reason almost no one talks about. Remember my example from My Hero Academia where you were born and you could make fire? Let's keep it simple and say you have the same power here. The only difference is that the way you use your power is by using this energy called cursed energy, and instead of being called a power, it's called a cursed technique. I mean, okay, that's pretty easy, so I'm just going to... Whoa, there are actually a bunch of cursed techniques someone can get when they're bored. Okay, that's alright, I guess I'll just learn them to figure out what I can do, and whoa, there are also a bunch of cursed techniques you can learn, like barriers. Yeah, I mean, that's alright, I'll just read about them and eventually I'll figure it out. But there are also ways you can combine techniques like domain expansions. Okay, I guess there's more to learn, but that's still, you know. And there are also a bunch of techniques to counter these techniques like hollow wicker basket, simple domain, and falling blossom emotion. And okay, that's kind of starting to become a bit overwhelming, I guess. And every technique has very specific rules, but you can avoid these rules with a binding vow. Okay, wait, I think that's a bit like... And there are a couple of people out there that do not give a fuck about these rules at all. Imagine reading a manga where you need to reread a page like 10 times before figuring out how something works. This is how it feels reading Jujutsu Kaisen, and I already read it. Okay, but seriously, I am not the only person who says this. I mean, just look at all these comments. So if even the author says that they probably wouldn't be able to explain the power system, which I'm not inventing, apparently that's true. How is this power system perfect? Here's the thing. I've seen a couple of people here and there have like an insane theory about this, and I think that they might be onto something. Check this out. This character can finally use his body for the first time in his life, and he's destroyed almost immediately after that. This character basically doesn't even want to be there, and he has just dreams of chilling out in his life, and he's destroyed completely. But then there's this guy who's like born the strongest, and sure, he trains somehow and he gets stronger, but from the very beginning, he's pretty much set for life. There are so many power systems out there where characters get these massive power-ups or transformations if they put enough time, effort, or just if they're really determined. But that's something that basically doesn't happen in JJK, because most of the characters disappear before ever getting the opportunity to get better. Okay, maybe you're gonna think that I'm a bit crazy, but what if the power system isn't supposed to make sense? Like, have you ever watched a JJK video and you thought, oh, this makes complete sense. But then you watched another JJK video completely contradicting the first video and thought, oh, that's weird because it kind of makes sense too. This has happened to me so many times. And basically what some people are saying is that the power system is supposed to feel like the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like things are confusing and unfair and unpredictable. And personally, I love this theory, and I think that it really fits with Jujutsu Kaisen. And yeah, 100% this part of the power system is really weird and unique, and yet there's another part that I thought was even more insane. Check this out. Look at this guy just running on this tree like it's nothing. I mean, this whole fight looks so good. And that was only the beginning. Dude, this is like a random fight in this series, and it genuinely looks like some of the best stuff I've ever seen. It's crazy. And it somehow gets even crazier. Okay, I am not joking when I say that this is probably one of my top anime fights of all time, and I mean so easily. Even though the power system is so freaking complicated, in the end, it comes down to people beating the shit out of each other. You know what? For all the frustration and confusion this series has given me, it also has some of the best fights out of anime and manga ever. If you're someone who wants a really complicated and deep power system that is attached to the entire story, the world, and the themes, JJK is perfect for you. But if you want something that just looks incredible and you're ready to put your brain down, JJK can be perfect for you. But I would recommend the anime so you don't have to read for hours. Because yeah, the sad part is that after a while, the manga has these huge explanations for the power system, and trust me, I completely abandoned trying to understand any of it. And because of that, I'd say that it's probably closer to an A tier, but I'm pretty biased, so I'll go with another S tier. But after figuring out that these power systems were nothing like one another, which one was actually the best? And right now you might be thinking, are you not going to talk about JoJo's, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter? Because these power systems are actually the best. And I'm sorry, but you are so completely right. Because yeah, these power systems are iconic and legendary. But the thing is, there are so many new, fresh, and unique power systems being invented right now. And to me, a good power system isn't about inventing something completely new, because everything has already been invented. Every single power system we know has been inspired by by something similar that existed before. I think a simple power system can be amazing in so many different ways, just like I think a complicated power system can be amazing in so different ways. Just like I think that a power system doesn't even need to be only about power. The perfect power system actually exists, but it's very different for every single person watching this video because it's the perfect power system for you. Oh, what's my favorite power system? Oh, that's really easy. It's